Welcome to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, and for the next 4 weeks, we're coming to you from the Renaissance Shop and hosted by the Lake Sunapee Region VNA and Hospice, who provides an unmatched quality of care to those it serves, is the preferred place to work and volunteer, and remains an adaptive and enduring presence with an unsurpassed breadth of service offerings. Today, we'll be joined by Sheila Bledsoe, a registered nurse and hospice manager, for a rundown on the services they provide. Zola Shulman will tell us about his artwork preserving the memories of a Ukrainian town his Jewish family came from. Brittany Sue Hines, a New London Barn Education Associate, will tell us about a theater intensive coming up. And we'll close with the piece we did last year with June Fichter, the retiring executive director of the Lake Sunapee Preservation Association. Don't go away because you won't want to miss this week's edition of your Yankee Chronicle. We'll be right back.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Even though our daily lives are different, one fact remains unchanged. Blood is needed every day by patients facing a range of serious illnesses. If you're healthy, please schedule an appointment to donate by visiting redcrossblood.org.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. When you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, coming to you from the Renaissance Shop here at the VNA in New London. And I'm now joined by Sheila Bledsoe, who's the hospice manager. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, Abby.
Great to have you and learn about your position. Tell us about your time working in the hospice industry.
Yeah, Abby. I've been a nurse for quite a while, 16 years or so, and I've done a variety of things, and I was really drawn to hospice from personal life experiences, which I think that a lot of folks that go into hospice, they come to it because they've had that personal experience.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that probably helps too, in that you can relate to it on a personal level when you meet with some of these families. Yeah, because what really happens for the end of life journey is it's, once in a lifetime for these people. Right. And everyone, this is a universal experience, whether you're going through it or that you're witnessing it. But it's not something that's always spoken about openly. And so, it takes a really, I think, special person to work in the hospice field. And, I'm just excited every day to come to work to be able to support our team here. That's amazing. So talk about your team, because it's not just you as the hospice manager. There's many other people part of it, but also different aspects too that I don't think people realize are part of a hospice team.
Sure. When people come onto hospice, a lot of times a big difference is a lot of people feel somewhat out of control with their health care. The doctor kind of dictates what the treatment plan is. What we really focus on is the patient and what their goals are for their end of life and for quality of life. And we approach that in a holistic way. We have a team, eclectic team, a bunch of ladies and gentlemen who they're amazing. We have a music therapist, Grace, who she's so important to the treatment plan. We also have spiritual care. We have social work. we have the nurses and the home health aides, and we all work together to treat the patient and also provide support to the family as well.
I was just going to say that because I think a lot of times when people immediately think of hospice, you think of that one patient, but it's so much more than that too, because there are other people who are about to grieve part of the whole process of hospice. So that's probably equally as important.
Right, and you know, a lot of times we work very closely together. Our spiritual care ladies, they really come in and really support the family. And after there's bereavement support groups, we support the family for over a year after their loved one dies as well.
Wow, that's incredible to know. Anything else happening within the hospice office here that's important for people to know?
Yeah, I think that sometimes hospice, like I had said in the beginning, is a difficult thing to talk about. We do have a palliative program as well that is not hospice, but it's kind of like a stepping stone to think about quality of life going to the hospice, moving to the hospice direction. And so access to that and really thinking about what's important in your life. I think all of us, we really, our life is short, and all of us need to be thinking about what we want to do with it.
And
so,
that's important.
Yeah.
So you can really help the steps in which a family feels is important for their loved one.
Right, because all of a sudden then you're deciding, okay, what's important in my life right now in this moment. And so I think we really want to highlight that, and we really want to assist these people in achieving these goals, and the family and bonding with these family members or loved ones.
Do you assist with any planning ahead of time if someone is not in hospice currently but might have questions, or how does it work? Is that something people can reach out to you and find more information?
Yeah, we certainly do. At any time, whether it be a doctor's office, any healthcare agency, or individual can reach out to our agency at any time, and we can do hospice informationals. I can speak with you on the phone, and we can discuss what hospice is, what that would look like, and you know, whether or not that person or loved one is ready.
Oh, tell us about the video on your website.
So the video on our website is Understanding Hospice, and anyone can go to that and just start to get an idea of what our hospice program is about, and just some of the little ins and outs of that.
Well, you're a wonderful resource, not only you, but your entire team, and to have so many different aspects I think is so wonderful. So thank you so much for telling us all about the hospice department, but also hosting us here for Yankee Chronicle.
No, thanks, Abby.
Thank you so much. When we come back, we'll be joined by Zola Shulman at Newport's Library Arts Center to see a show he has hung that tells the story of a Jewish community in Ukraine. But first, these words from the good folks that make our show possible.
Ticks suck blood, but even a tiny tick can make you super sick. When you're outdoors, wear protective clothing and an EPA-registered insect repellent. And remember to check for ticks everywhere. Go to ticksuck.org for more information. Ticksuck.org.
Some say e-cigarettes aren't dangerous.
But science shows nicotine can harm teens' developing brains.
No matter how they're exposed.
Let's do an experiment to find out.
Here's a teen who won't be using e-cigarettes.
Now we need one willing to risk their brain development.
Care to volunteer your kid?
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
For children fighting critical illness, we can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Help us make every wish come true.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm Abby Peel, your host. Let's head over to Newport to hear about an interesting show hanging in the Library Arts Center. Hi, Alan.
This is a representative sampling of a much larger collection of paintings. These paintings date back to 1992. And I had been given a book called the Zinkover Memorial Book by my grandfather by way of my mother. And I rediscovered this book, even though I'd received it many years earlier. And it occurred to me that these were people and events about which I knew almost nothing, even though I'd grown up with some of these people, concerning the residents of a town in Ukraine called Zinkov. And when I read that Kate was looking for a body of work, it occurred to me that this was probably the most significant body of work that I have painted in my lifetime. What is on display here are paintings based on small photographs from a book of people who basically perished during the Holocaust during World War II. These are not what you would call prominent citizens. It's not the mayor of Zinkov, it's not the chief rabbi of the Jewish community in Zinkov. And the Jewish community was of considerable size. It was probably 3,000 people of the 7,000 inhabitants of Zinkov. This is a portrait of my family that came here in the first decade of the 20th century, but this is probably taken right around 1918, 1917, but not all of them came. Some of them stayed, and of those that stayed, most of them perished in the Holocaust. Well, these people are victims of the Holocaust. I don't know if I mentioned it, but there's an aspect of the Holocaust called the Holocaust by bullets. And there's a Catholic priest named Father Patrick Dubois, who has, with his group, explored Eastern Europe and discovered and documented something like 1,800 killing sites that were created by the Nazis going through as they invaded Eastern Europe and ghettoized, starved, and then executed massive numbers of people and buried them in mass graves. The boy in the center here, who is a little difficult to see, is not named. Again, like so many of the people pictured in this exhibit, just a child, just an everyday child. This is a blow-up of a very small black and white photograph from the Zinkov Memorial Book, which pictures one of the one-room classrooms in Zinkov. The classroom had all ages of children. Her name is Batya Fuchs. She and her husband owned a dry goods store in Zinkov and were reasonably successful at it. They kept the business going through good times and bad times. Her husband died in 1938 of appendicitis. She survived only to be a victim of the Holocaust by bullets. But the representation is basically to give you a sense of the Zinkov killing field, which was in a forest just outside town where massive numbers of people were executed and buried, and which at that time was something of a public spectacle. That is to say, people came to see it happen. He was a photographer. He again was a military person. In the background is the ruins of the main synagogue in Zinkov. With the current events going on in Ukraine, it just brings to mind, in a sense, the fact that not only Jewish people in Ukraine, but all citizens of Ukraine have, over the decades and centuries, endured very difficult times, either under the Russian Empire or under the Soviet Union. And I guess the tie-in with this exhibit is, in a sense, this is not new to these people. They've endured an awful lot over time.
Thank you, Alan. Ironic that a country with a Jewish president is now being attacked to denazify it. When we return, I'll be joined via Zoom by Brittany Sue Hines, a New London Barn Education Associate, to hear about spring auditions for young theatergoers. Let's first take a break now from a few words from the good-minded businesses that make our show possible.
Every year, thousands of animals are killed by poachers. You can protect them. Join us.
At Wounded Warrior Project, while we all deal with the effects of COVID-19, our greatest concern is for the health and safety of our nation's wounded heroes, especially those who are at increased risk due to their service to our nation and those who are even now more isolated. We are connecting with warriors and families by adapting our free life-changing programs, including increased phone and video support and online services. The need has never been greater, and we've never been more committed. Please support warriors today.
For children fighting critical illness, it can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Help us make every wish come true.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, coming to you from Zoom with Brittany Sue Hines from the New London Barn Playhouse. And I feel like when we talk about the barn, that means summer is quickly approaching, which makes everybody so happy. Hi, Brittany. How are you?
I'm excellent. Abby, how are you?
Good, thanks. I mean, it's so exciting to always hear from the barn, but especially now that means that things are happening, maybe somewhat of a normal season, and spring auditions are coming up for anyone in the area. Tell us about that.
Yeah, super exciting stuff about to happen. The Junior Intern Company, which is our younger group of performers and designers / technicians, will be holding auditions and interviews for those young people ages 12 through 18 who are interested in spending a summer at the barn, learning, growing, connecting with us. And like you said, hopefully, enjoying a more normal season, maybe possibly being back in the barn. Fingers crossed if everything continues to go great, as it certainly has been. So yeah, auditions are coming up here soon. April 9th and 10th, we'll be holding them in person, but there are also virtual options available as well for anybody that would like to submit a video or do a Zoom or a Google Meet session as well.
Oh, that's exciting. And what's the age range that you're really looking for? Is there a specific age that you're looking for? Is it a broad spectrum?
Yeah, so it's ages 12 through 18, and we welcome anybody within that age range.
Awesome. And should people sign up?
Yes, absolutely. You can go visit our website, nlbarn.org/junior-interns, and there's all the information that you need about auditions and interviews, what you might need to have prepared, how you can sign up for a slot. It's super easy. You just email education@nlbarn.org, and we'll figure out a time for all of us to meet and see your skills and determine if we're going to be a part of the Junior Intern Company together this summer.
So tell us too about, obviously these internships lead to something. So what are people auditioning for?
Yes. So our Junior Intern Company designs and performs the 4 shows of the children's theater series that the barn has every summer. This year, we have our annual musical review. We have our outdoor Shakespeare. We have our self-written play. The junior interns will write the play themselves. And then we finish up with our big musical, which this year is Roald Dahl's Matilda. So that is what these young people will be working toward for all 9 weeks of the summer that we spend together. And it's a truly wonderful time.
And do some people come with the mindset of thinking like, oh, I want to try out for specifically a show or a part, or is this just broad and you see where they fit best?
Sure. It can be both. I mean, of course, when you audition, you're committing to being an ensemble, right? So whether that means you're a lead or that you're in the ensemble of a show, we're all working together as one giant ensemble to put on all 4 of these shows. So of course, folks can join us for one of the shows for the season. They can join us for the whole season, but it all starts with that audition process. That's the first step. And then we can kind of navigate everything else from there.
Love it. And before I let you go, there's also summer camps that are important to talk about because people are really starting, we have the sun shining, people are really starting to think about summer plans here. So what can people expect from summer camps?
The same magical barn summer that, maybe they've experienced in the past. We are so thrilled to have our summer camps back in full force. They are already selling out. So I already want to point that out to your viewers here. If you would like a spot in summer camps, if you have a young person in your life, age 6 to 11, we would love to have them, but definitely sign up right away, nlbarn.org. All of our camp themes, all of the details that you need, all can be found there, but sign up quickly before things sell out completely.
That's good to know. If people have any questions, how do they reach out to you or anyone in the education department?
Sure. You can send us an email at education@nlbarn.org, or you can find us on social media. On Instagram, we are at NLBP Education if you want to shoot us a message there. Same thing on Facebook, NLBP Education. We respond to all of our messages there as well.
Well, I think it'll only be a matter of time before we're back in person and it's a little bit warmer and we're talking about all those fun summer things. So this is just the first step into the start of the summer season, which is so exciting.
It absolutely is. I am thrilled.
Yeah, we are too. Thank you so much for giving us the lowdown of everything happening for junior interns this year.
Thank you, Abby.
When we return, June Fichter, the retiring executive director of the Lake Sunapee Preservation Association, tells us about their renovated facility and the good work being done to protect the waters in our beautiful lakes region. But first, let's visit a few of those local businesses that are still here serving you.
We all know ticks suck blood, but not just in the woods. Ticks can be almost anywhere year-round. Even though some are smaller than the head of a pin, they're big trouble. Even a tiny tick can make you super sick. So wear protective clothing and an EPA-registered insect repellent. And when you shower, remember, check for ticks everywhere. If you get a tick, tell an adult and go to ticksuck.org to learn how to remove it properly. Ticks suck, but being outdoors shouldn't. Ticksuck.org.
Even though our daily lives are different, one fact remains unchanged. Blood is needed every day by patients facing a range of serious illnesses. If you're healthy, please schedule an appointment to donate by visiting redcrossblood.org.
We all know ticks suck blood, but even a tiny tick can make you super sick. When you're outdoors, wear protective clothing and an EPA-registered insect repellent. And remember to check for ticks everywhere. Go to ticksuck.org for more information. Ticksuck.org.
Every year, thousands of animals are killed by poachers. You can protect them. Join us.
Welcome back to your Yankee Chronicle. I'm Abby Peel, your host. Last year, we had a chance to visit the renovated Lake Sunapee Preservation Association's building in Lake Sunapee Harbor. Tell us more, June.
We began in 1898, so we've been around for a while, but the mission is to preserve the environment in the Lake Sunapee region, not only the lake, but the land, because the land does affect the water resources. We're an environmental education and research organization, if I might do this. We've been in the building here for about 10 years, and it's similar to, when you move into a house, after a while you get to see what the pros and the cons are. And there were a couple of issues here in the building as it was, an 1889 house with a barn attached. It was wonderful. However, it wasn't the best visitor experience. So the layout in the main floor really needed to be straightened out. So one of the benefits of the new renovation is that people can come in, they have their own space, it's clear how to get to the office manager or the staff without interrupting classes or workshops. That's huge. Another issue was that we had one meeting room what we called the harbor room on the first floor, main floor. And it was getting to the point where you couldn't schedule classes because you might have a workshop. And we have more and more research teams coming to LSPA. We were beginning to be like a small research field station. Another benefit of the renovation, besides straightening out the flow, if you will, of the main floor, is that we have a classroom plus the harbor room, plus a small conference room, so that we can serve more groups more often without interrupting. Where we are right now was the upper floor of the barn, and the cupola would leak, and we'd have to shovel snow to clean up so it wouldn't leak. And the walls were so thin you could actually see the outside. Not friendly space for much of anything. So now we have turned it into an insulated, full-fledged classroom, and downstairs we'll still have the harbor room for workshops. We are having more researchers, as I mentioned, coming to Lake Sunapee. One of the reasons is that we have, the organization has a strong data set dating back to 1985 and even the 50s and 60s. That data is important for researchers today who are trying to understand how lakes work and the effects of, for example, climate change on lakes. So Lake Sunapee is perfect. Another improvement that we did was downstairs in the garage basement level, we have a small, call it a water lab, and we wanted to go green. So we now have and will complete our solar additions. We have some new ones, and we'll have more solar panels in the springtime. Along with that, the new HVAC system has a much better airflow, just coincidentally, and it's that better airflow that a lot of schools are struggling with. They don't have great airflow, a lot of older buildings, when you think about something like COVID. Also, I did want to thank all our generous donors for allowing us to do this renovation. LSPA is over 100 years old, and we firmly believe that this renovated space will be beneficial for the organization for the next 100 years. So I want to do a shout out to our donors. If you'd like to know more about the mission of LSPA, go to our website. There's a wealth of information there. There are also some webinars because we've been doing more online story hours and so forth, and there's a host of information about almost anything you'd want to know about the lake. So you can do that. You can become a member. It's minimal cost, and you get our biannual magazines or newsletters, and all other benefits by protecting the lake. Also, you can call us or email us and sign up for the Flash of the Beacon, which is a monthly online newsletter that we send out with just all sorts of neat facts and information.
It's great to see the work being done to preserve our water resources, and good luck to June on her retirement from this dedicated work. Keep in mind that when you buy online or at a big box store, your dollars leave the community and don't support what we love about our towns. Next week, we'll be back here at the Renaissance Shop in New London. Jean Connolly will give us a rundown of upcoming Center for the Arts events coming up. And we'll close with a piece we did last year on the Sutton Steeple. And our next game of the week will feature a replay of the Kearsarge football team hosting Pelham. All our games replay at 12 noon and 5 p.m. on Sundays and Mondays on YCN, or on demand anytime at ycnnow.com. Check out our new home on a new region-wide cable channel being hosted by NCTV in Newport and programmed throughout the Kearsarge Lake Sunapee region. YCN will continue to provide regional public affairs, programming, sports, and our Yankee Chronicle. I'm Abby Peel. Join me again next week here at the Renaissance Shop in New London at the same time for another edition of Yankee Chronicle.